ओमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामिने गौरकृष्ण नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So, we welcome everyone for today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So, we discussed from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 29, last time. Asyaryavat pashyati kashidenam, asyaryavat vadati tathaiva chanya, asyaryavat chainamanya shrunoti, Rutvapyenam vedana chaiva kashyet. So in this verse, Lord Krishna explained that the characteristics of the soul is very wonderful. There are many people who look upon the soul as very amazing. There are people who describe it as amazing. And people who hear about the soul, they become amazed. And the most amazing thing of all is that even after hearing and knowing about all the characteristics of the soul, still people do not take uh, the activities of the soul very seriously. That is also a wonderful, amazing. So, next, today's verse, Lord Krishna explains. देहि नित्यम अवध्यवयम देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living beings. So, in this way, this verse is the final uh, uh, conclusive verse of this section, Science of Soul. Lord Krishna started speaking, instructing Arjuna from verse number 11 of this chapter. And the very first lesson Krishna imparted to Arjuna was that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. Just to convince us that we are different from this body, Krishna spoke 20 verses. Just imagine. In 20 verses, Krishna very analytically he explains the characteristics of the soul and how the material body is temporary. Material body, the value of material body in comparison to the spirit soul is very less, and the spirit soul has got all importance, and we belong to the spiritual realm. So all these things Krishna explained in 20 verses. Finally, this last verse of this section, Science of Soul, Krishna is giving again conclusion. Actually, in most of the verses, Lord Krishna explains, repeats the same thing again and again. Because what is the reason? The reason is because it is the nature of the insignificant living entities like us, and that too, those living entities who are conditioned soul. So this is the nature of a conditioned soul that they forget easily, just like a small child. A small child, you teach a lesson, immediately after a few minutes he will forget. Again, you teach a lesson, again he will forget. So that's why those who are teacher or parents, they teach the child again and again. You repeat it. Just like in order to this, every one of us, we have remembered these tables, 1 to 10, then 1 to 15, 20, 30 till 40. So how we did this? We did this by repeated recitation. Just like devotees, they recite verses, shlokas multiple times, and then in this way they can by heart shlokas. Similarly, And in our childhood, we used to repeat again and again poems, tables, so that it can go very deep into our heart. Similarly, Krishna also again and again repeating the same message that we are not this body in different ways, different angles. He is explaining why. Because we are so insignificant, we are so, uh, sorry to say, but we are so dull headed. Dull headed means nothing goes very easily inside our brain, and especially spiritual instructions. Spiritual instructions uh, means do not penetrate our heart very easily. Even after multiple times telling again and again that we are not this body, we are spirit, soul, still we act on the platform of body. That's why this is required. That's why in most of the lectures and purports, Srila Prabhupada focus on these basic things of devotional life, spiritual life. That the first and foremost fundamental principle of spiritual life is that we should understand we are not this body, we are not this mind, we are not this intelligence. We are nothing of this material world. So if I am not this body, mind, intelligence, and all these things, so anything related with this body, mind, intelligence, that is also nothing, that also does not belong to me. This is very clear cut understanding, but still, even after knowing well, hearing it repeatedly, still we become entangled. Means we consider material things, material feelings, emotions, material inspirations, material desires, our own desires. A very simple thing. In sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita in Hindi class, we are discussing about this right now. Nidatmana prasantasya paramatma samahita. One who has controlled the mind, he has already reached to the platform of Paramatma realization. So what does this mean to control the mind? Controlling the mind means it's very simple. It's not very difficult task. Although yes, it is very difficult task. But if somebody can get perfect knowledge from perfect source, so Krishna is perfect source, perfect supreme authority, and whatever he speaks, that is perfect knowledge. If somebody can just hear and understand and accept and follow it, the knowledge given by the supreme authority, Krishna, then it is very easy, very simple to control the mind. Because Krishna clearly says, I am not this body. I am not this body means I am not the mind also. So all the things, all the these emotions, experiences, desires, the willingness to act in this world, that is generated from mind. So why should I unnecessarily identify myself with the mind? Very clear. So where is the question of getting distracted because of the contaminated desires presented by the mind? So although the mind, because of being repeatedly fulfilling the material desires while living in this material world for many millions and millions of births, indeed the mind is very contaminated. Mind has so much contamination that every moment, practically every moment, the mind, this using these functions, thinking, feeling, willing, it is just giving us material desires. Thinking, feeling, willing, given by the material mind, is becomes the cause for the entanglement of the spirit soul, and it has nothing to do with the Krishna conscious activity. So that in this way, a conditioned soul, a conditioned soul's material mind, contaminated mind, every moment that contaminated or material mind cheats the conditioned soul. And because why the conditioned soul gets cheated by the dictations or desires of the material mind? Because the conditioned soul thinks that I am this mind. That is the only reason. Otherwise, constitutionally, the conditioned soul is superior in nature to this dull matter, dull material mind. We are superior to dull material mind. If we simply can understand that I am not this mind, so whatever material motivation, dictations, or desires the mind is presenting to me, that does not belong to me. I have nothing to do with this. So why should I unnecessarily get entangled or distracted with the desires, or thoughts, or inspirations, impressions, impetus given by this material mind? Immediately he can come out of it. There is no difficulty. It's very simple. The controlling mind is very simple. Art of There are many people, motivational speakers. They give seminar on art of mind control, stress management, how to remain always encouraged, inspired, enthusiastic, how to control your mind. But all those seminars have no value, because all those seminars are given by a person who himself is under the control of mind, and he is giving all those seminars with the help of this mind itself. It's like you want to kill an enemy, and you are approaching an enemy and asking him that, my dear enemy, I want to kill you. Please suggest me something. How can I kill you? So what do you think? That can only happen. That enemy can only tell you the secret how you can kill that enemy. If he is Bhishmitama and you are a Pandava, that is the only possibility. Only Bhishmitama can tell that this is the way you can kill me. To whom? Pandavas like Arjuna. But our mind is very contaminated. So we should not expect that with the help of our mind we can control our mind. Control the mind to become free from the contaminating desires or entangling, distracting thoughts of the mind will be a failure, because material attempts are attempts given by the mind itself. So that's why it does not work. Those who, instead of taking help from the Supreme Authority Krishna and taking help from Bhagavad Gita, knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, those who try to control their mind, they fall down very heavily. And it may appear that apparently they are able to control the mind and they are able to work very hard, but they are inspired by or dictated by another desire of the mind. Uh, that is also material. Suppose if somebody who is desiring to become an IS officer, IS officer he wants to become. So he has to control certain things. He has to control his eating, sleeping, and all this. Means screen time. He has to reduce it to zero. His mobile screen time. So it may appear that, oh, he has controlled his mind. Just see, he does not. He has reduced his eating, sleeping, and he is able to work hard, study 15 hours, 18 hours in a day, and he has full control over mind. He does not use his Android phone more than necessary. That means he has controlled the mind. No, it is not mind control. It is rather mind has fully controlled him. Mind has dictated him that you should acquire uh, a very high position in the society, so that your name and fame will increase in this world. So this is the dictation of the mind. What is the meaning of mind controlling us? What is the meaning that our mind is uncontrolled? The meaning is that when the mind is hankering after sense gratification, when the mind forces us to enjoy sense gratification, that is the meaning of uncontrolled mind. If somebody is unable to restrict his sense enjoyment, and he is whatever the mind is dictating that you get this sense enjoyment, I want this, and if we are running after that, that means mind is uncontrolled. So here in this case, that particular person, he is dictated by the mind that this cheap give up this cheap sense enjoyment, because I am telling you that you get the highest kind of sense enjoyment, to get name and fame in this world, to enjoy to enjoy greater type of sense gratification. One may be able to, for the time being, temporarily, one may be able to give up lower kind of sense enjoyment. And that also applies to the Mayavadi sannyasis, who appear to be renounced, it appears that they have renounced all kinds of material sense enjoyment. They are they are following principles of brahmacharya, celibacy, very perfectly, strictly, and they do not they follow the austere lifestyle. They do not live in luxury and comfort zone. So they are very much, they have controlled their mind. But actually, no, their mind is also not controlled, because they are giving up this low grade sense enjoyment for the purpose of acquiring better sense enjoyment. Better means highest kind of sense enjoyment. That is also Maya. Why? Because these Mayavadi sannyasis, they want to become one with God. They want to become Lord Narayana. They want to become equal with the Lord. So that is the Srila Prabhupada explains, that is last snare of Maya. The highest kind of entanglement a Maya can give to somebody is that this mind can inspire him to try to become one with God. That is the highest kind of Maya. Only devotees are the perfect controller of their mind and senses and intelligence, everything. Because only devotees, they do not at all go by the dictations of the mind, but they are guided by the dictations given by the Supreme Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. They are guided by the dictations or instructions given by the bona fide acharyas like Srila Prabhupada and Guru Shishya Parampara. And all those instructions in the Bhagavad Gita and given by the acharyas, they are uh, for the purpose of removing our desire for sense enjoyment, sense gratification, and for the purpose of freeing us from the illusion of Dehatma Buddhi, this misconception of the body, material body, bodily identification, and uh, and to become situated as an eternal servant of Krishna. To always think oneself to be a humble servant, humble devotee of Krishna, and in this way to desire to give pleasure to Krishna, to satisfy his senses. That is the perfect state of mind control. So, in this way, because a devotee has complete conviction, complete knowledge, complete and perfect knowledge that I am not this body, I am not this mind intelligence, so I have nothing to do with the activities dictated by the material mind and intelligence and this gross senses, material body. So that's why the science of soul, this section, instructions given by Krishna is very, very important. In order, if somebody desires to become free from the entanglement of mind and Maya, if somebody wants to fully control his mind, then he must clearly understand this very valuable instruction of Krishna, which he has very mercifully, kindly given in these verses of Bhagavad Gita. So this is last verse. Again, Krishna is repeating that Dehi Nityam Avadhyayam. Dehi means there are two things, Deha and Dehi. So Deha means this body, including the mind and intelligence and ego, subtle body. And Dehi means the possessor of the body. Dehi, the spirit soul is known as Dehi. So Dehi is Nityam. Krishna is saying Dehi is Nityam. Nityam means eternal. The spirit soul is eternal, whereas the body is temporary. Dehi is Nityam and Avadhyayam. It cannot be destroyed at any time. Dehe Sarvasya Bharata. Within this Deha, the Dehi which is living, that is Nitya and Avadhya. Because, why Krishna is repeating this again? Because the material body, uh, the material body is not Nitya. It is temporary and it can be destroyed. Avadhya, it is Vadhya. Vad can be done to this material body. But the Dehi which is living within this material body is Nitya and Avadhya. Avadhya means it cannot be killed. Nitya means it is eternal. Sarvasya of all the living entities, all the bodies, not just human beings, but animals, plants, is all the species which has life. So that's why Krishna finally is concluding. He is concluding that Tasma Sarvani Bhutani Natvam Sochitum Arasi. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body. Who dwells within the body? We dwell within the body. We are living within the body. Just like a person who is within the vehicle, a car, so he is dwelling within the car, dwelling within the bus or train. Similarly, the spirit soul is dwelling within the body. And so this spirit soul can never be slain. That is the final conclusion. So therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. So you should not grieve for any living being, considering themselves to be the body and yourself to be this body. Rather, you should act for the deliverance of the soul proper. This is the instruction Krishna is giving. So nattam sochitum. Sochitum means one should not lament. The lamentation comes because of this misidentification with the body. As soon as one becomes free from this illusion, that I am this body, one becomes free from lamentation. And how one can become free from the illusion of identifying oneself with this body? And one can become free from this illusion simply by attentively hearing the instructions imparted by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. That's why this section is very, very important. And this is guaranteed. If you read this section or hear about this section, Science of Soul, repeatedly, if one's hearing is not enough, because our dull brain, sorry to say, I should say my, because my dull brain, in my brain, The cow dung is filled. So it's very difficult to understand the basic philosophy, a very fundamental and basic philosophy, that I'm not this body. If I'm not this body, so why should I unnecessarily uh, give so much attention for the demands of the body, for the dictations given by the mind? All the feelings, experiences, desires, dictations are which give the mind gives. It is completely useless. Why should one should become callous to all these dictations, influences given by the mind? But because my brain is filled with cow dung, it's very hard to be able to understand this philosophy. And even if I understand this, it becomes very hard to follow it. Why? Because of this reason. So that's why it is very much required that we hear again and again, we read again and again. Then we will understand. Then we'll come out of this lamentation. Otherwise, there is no lamentation. There is no what you say. There is no question of controlling the mind. Where is the question of controlling the mind? Just start yourself. Um, uh, just do not misidentify yourself with the mind. Then everything is finished. Simple. If you don't identify yourself with the mind, then where is the question of controlling the mind? The controlling of the mind will come when you are identifying with the mind. Then you are thinking that you are either your mind, or you are thinking this mind belongs to me. So that means you are identifying, or you are thinking that the happiness and distress of the mind are my happiness and distress. So this misidentification comes when we think that either I am this mind, or if we think that I am this mind belongs to me. So because of this misidentification, immediately we will misidentify the happiness and distress of the mind with ourselves. Just like suppose when if some of your relatives, suppose your father, mother, or brother or sister, or anyone, any of the relative, your very close relative, they got some good material success, good profit in this material world. So you feel happy because you are identifying with them. Oh, he's my father, he's my brother, she's my sister, he's my husband, she's my wife, they are my children. So when you identify others with yourself in this way, so their happiness and distress becomes your happiness and distress. But as soon as you come to know that they do not belong to you, then there is no question of identifying their happiness and miseries with yourself. Just like suppose in this world, there are so many people who are suffering. So we don't cry for them. But as soon as if some of our relatives, a very close relative, blood relative, they suffer, then they are in pain, then we start feeling suffering. Why? Because we are identifying. Huh? That is the reason a genuinely true Vaishnava, he feels a great pain upon seeing the suffering situation of any living entity in this world. Because on a spiritual level, that pure Vaishnava, he is able to connect with everyone because he knows every living entity is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So everyone belongs to Krishna, myself belong to Krishna. So if somebody, because they have turned their face away from the Supreme Lord Krishna, that's why they are suffering. So Vaishnav feels pain for them. That's why a Vaishnav tries very hard, risk his life to convince all those people to become devoted to the Supreme Lord. That is the nature of a true Vaishnav. He feels pain, he feels suffering, but not on material basis, not for the material pains and pleasures of other living entities, but on a spiritual basis. If a Vaishnava, a true Vaishnava finds that a particular living entity is becoming very attached to Krishna, lotus feet of Krishna, then he feels very great satisfaction, happiness. But a Vaishnava, if he sees that a particular living entity is again and again getting entangled into the activities of Maya, is becoming attached to Maya, then that gives pains and dissatisfaction to a Vaishnava. And the Vaishnava becomes disappointed because of this. He becomes discouraged sometimes. But actually, of course, there should be no discouragement because a Vaishnava is always ready, eager very much to preach to all the conditioned souls, even at the cost of risking his own life, because the nature of the conditioned soul is that if you teach them to become, instruct them to become detached from material sense enjoyment, to become detached from activities of Maya, and get fully attached to Krishna, the nature of the living entities in this world, conditioned soul, the nature is that they become rebellious. They feel that this person is my enemy. And in this way, they start either they blame or they criticize, or sometimes they even attack also. This had happened. Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, he was a bold preacher of Krishna consciousness. He never compromised. To whomever he met, he spoke very boldly that give up the attachment to Maya and become fully attached to Krishna. And because of this reason, many attempts were made to kill him. Just imagine. Uh, so a great personality who has nothing to do with this any business of this material existence. He has come. He descended from the spiritual world on the instruction of the Supreme Lord. Uh, and he came with the mission to reawaken the lost God consciousness in the heart of the living entities. So when he spoke very mercifully, so he was misunderstood, and attempts were made even to kill him. But still, he did not stop. Even at the risk of his life, he went on preaching. So that is our parampara. Uh, he is our great grandfather, great grandfather. Our grandfather, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, he started this mission, ISKCON, and his father, his spiritual father, His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, and our father, uh, he also preached throughout his life, and we are also inspired to follow in their footsteps. So we also don't care for any criticism, any kind of beating or risking. Even if somebody comes and beat us, but still we'll speak the truth. We'll request him or her that, my dear Prabhu, please become detached from Maya. Please become attached to Krishna. Then only you can become fully happy. Otherwise, you are in completely in illusion. If you think that the happiness which your mind is feeling is your happiness, then you are in great illusion, because you are not this mind. Uh, Neither I am this mind, nor this mind belong to me. Uh, this I am a spirit soul, eternal servant of Krishna, and this mind this mind belong to this material existence. This is Bahiranga Sakti, external potency of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So better it should be utilized in the service of Krishna. Then only this mind can be satisfied, and I will also be satisfied. It is very simple thing. Waiting. Wait. Okay. So, okay, we'll stop here. The devotees are waiting outside. We have to finish other program. So we'll discuss about this verse tomorrow once again. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Yes, any question? Yes, Ankita Mataji.
प्रभु मोस्ट ऑफ टाइम हरे कृष्ण रंगता है मोस्ट ऑफ टाइम
Hare
इट
Krishna.
कम्स इन माइंड कि प्रभुपाद जी के सामने होते उस टाइम होते तो 100% मुक्ति एंड तक मिल ही जाती जाने से पहले, बट अभी भी जैसे आप बताते हैं तो उसको भी उस तरह से कितना सिंसियरली ले सकते हैं? प्रभुपाद जी बोल रहे हैं, उनकी बुक से आप बताते हैं ताकि वो
Yes,
चीज इजीली
yes. Srila Prabhupada is present, and all the entire Guru Parampara, they are present. Krishna is present. It's just a matter of we taking their instructions seriously. If any devotee, if they takes instructions of any of the acharyas very seriously, they can reciprocate with him. They can be present with that devotee. This is a fact. So we are very fortunate. It's not that we are unfortunate that Srila Prabhupada left us in 1977 and we took birth after that. No, this is material calculation. Material body has taken birth after the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada. But the spiritual connection is always there. Srila Prabhupada is always present spiritually, just as Krishna is present in the form of his holy name. As soon as you chant very sincerely and purely, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So Krishna is present with you. It's just a matter of a little bit of realization. That's all. And Krishna is very merciful. Even if we were discussing about this morning in the morning Harinam Chintamani class, if a devotee completely free from all the offenses and sinful propensities, sinful activities, if he chants even for few days, he can realize that Krishna is present within his holy name. That is the potential of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And similarly, his great devotees like Srila Prabhupada, they are also present in the form of their instructions. It's just a matter of little bit realization. The spiritual things, the spiritual realization, and spiritual personalities, they do not depend upon material circumstances, physical world. Is it clear?
हरि बोल. थैंक यू प्रभु. थैंक यू सो मच.
Hare
हरि.
Krishna. Yes, Shama Mataji.
चैट बॉक्स में क्वेश्चन है प्रभु जानवी माता जी का, हाउ टू डिफरेंशिएट बिटवीन माइंड एंड सोल.
Why to differentiate? Do not differentiate between mind
हाउ
and
टू.
soul.
हाउ टू प्रभु.
No, I am saying why to differentiate. Why should you differentiate? What need is there to differentiate between mind and soul? Just accept that I am not this mind. Finish. So whatever material inspiration experiences based on material object, people, situations, and places you get through the mind, you understand that this is not what I am feeling. This is the mind is feeling. Uh, if seeing somebody, I become very happy. So I am not becoming happy. This mind is becoming happy. I've seen somebody, I become very morose, unhappy, hatredness. So this mind is becoming unhappy. So I have nothing to do with the business of mind. So immediately one can give up either love and affection or hatredness towards any material object, person, or situation, material place. The only affection or love, if we feel for Krishna, that is our affection and love. Although it is in the conditioned state, it is reflected through the mind, but that's all right. That belongs to spirit soul proper. So if we have faith, so we can accept this, that anything which we do for Krishna, which we feel for the Supreme Lord Krishna, that belongs to me. And anything which I do for anybody else or feel for anybody else, that belongs to mind, and I am not this mind, and neither mind belongs to me. Simple fact. So there is no question of differentiation because you cannot differentiate. That's why stop differentiating between mind and soul. Just accept that I am not the mind. Simple thing. Clear? Yes. One should maximum no. Full time one should involve in Krishna work.
हरे कृष्ण.
Okay.
दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी.
Hare Krishna. केवल दंडवत प्रणाम. हरे कृष्ण.
स्वामी प्रभु जी आज 12 माला हुई, 12 राउंड हुआ.
Okay. Very
4
nice.
बाकी है.
Good. Good. Very nice.
कल
कर
6
लीजिए
था,
और हो
आज
जाएगा.
12 थी. डबल कर
हाँ
दिया कल से.
हाँ ठीक है. Okay. Very nice. Good. I'm very happy. You are nicely advancing.
हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So any other question? We'll stop here.